Considering home security? Consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. The yard sign isn't just a sign, it's a line in the sand. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes. Visit ADT.com to learn more. For license information and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
Back and better than ever, Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And so, all day yesterday, we talked about the Rams, the Vikings, the Saints, and those Eagles who were resting and smiling while their whole division lost. And we said, well, those are the NFC big boys. And then came last night when Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers took the field to say, hey, everybody, don't forget about us. Golic, that was a dominating performance.
Yeah, it was. They looked good. You know, a lot of people thought, and they looked like they're starting to round into that form we saw a couple of years ago, because the question was, who are they? You know, what is it? They've already surpassed the win total from last year when they had 6 wins. Now they have 7, and we know the previous year how far they got. And so which team was it? And they feel like they're maybe rounding into that team. A lot of it has to do with health. Luke Kuechly is on the field and still diagnosing and reading every single play before the snap even happens. And offensively, you know, Jonathan Stewart had not been running well. He did last night. Had some fumbles he'd had earlier, but last night he got it together. Christian McCaffrey is doing his thing. And Cam, just let Cam play. You know, he has been such kind of an enigma since he won the MVP He won the MVP doing Cam things, and then it was like, well, we need to protect him because he's taking these hits. He's not getting the flags, which he wasn't. We all saw that, and we all scratched our head about that. So it's like for his survival, he needs to run less. But when he runs less, it's not Cam. You know, and that offense doesn't move as efficiently. So Cam needs to be Cam. He needs to run, designed runs, not just scrambling, but designed runs. As I said, the read option is not going to be a staple in the NFL, but some players can use it to their advantage, and Cam is one of those guys, and he does it, and he does it well. So letting Cam do his thing, that's what you have to do. I know you don't want to risk injury all the time, but you can't kind of cage that guy. You have to kind of let him go. And when he goes, man, he is a big train rolling downhill and fun to watch.
Yeah, especially on that one long run that he had last night. And
he's running people on that.
It does bring up an interesting question, which is, for him and for them, what is the priority? Is the priority the short term, which is being able to maximize what you can get out of every play, every series, every game, or is it the longer term, which is you want to figure out a way that he can have a longer career? If you've got a player like this, if you can get 90%, 85% of all the good things he can bring you over the course of 15 years, or 100% of all the things he can bring you, but his career is going to be limited to 8 or 9, which way do you go? I understand the thinking behind that, which is if we keep allowing him to take this number of hits, no matter how effective he is, look, come 3-4 years from now, he's just not going to be walking the same. He's not going to be running the same. You've said it a million times. What don't you ever see? Old running quarterbacks in the NFL. Well, he's a running quarterback, and he's going to be old relatively soon, comparatively speaking. So I understand trying, as time goes on, to develop the other things in his game that will keep him from taking that number of hits. But there's no question, on a play-by-play basis, he's at his best when you allow him to do all that stuff.
Every year he was in the league, he had over 100 rushing attempts. Even the MVP year of 2015 was the most at 132. Last year he had 90 rushing attempts. This year he already has 74. So he's going to surpass the 90 and probably be over 100 again. I guess my thought on that, Greeny, is you can be smarter about it, but if you're trying to both and get cute, you're doing neither. So at some point it's going to lean. I'm not saying it has to be all the one way, but it's got to lean one way. And I think it's got to lean the one way of saying we have never seen a quarterback of this. Now, I played with a quarterback that could run and was an unbelievable athlete in Randall Cunningham. Just amazing some of the things he could do. But Cam's a house compared to Randall and can run. I mean, we haven't seen this type of player with this type of ability at the quarterback position to throw and to run. You got to let him do it. You have to. I get trying to be smart, but don't try and outsmart yourself.
Well, last night they certainly did it onto the Miami Dolphins. And let's start off the top right there. The Panthers had almost 550 yards in offense last night in a game in which they blew out Miami on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, 294 yards rushing, 5 short of the franchise record. They have rushed for 200 yards in each of their last 2 games, the first time in franchise history. They've gone back-to-back of that as well. This was a game that was a 10 7 game right before the half.
Yeah, and the interception that Cutler threw turns the whole game around.
It looked like Luke Kuechly was running the route. It was normally what he does. And so all of a sudden now they score with 19 seconds to go, and it's 17-7, and then the train just went down the tracks in that second half. They just steamrolled Miami, but that was a bad mistake before halftime. But listen, they have it all going now. Christian McCaffrey, first career multi-touchdown game, 1 rush, 1 receiving. He is really getting into his groove. It's a second consecutive game with a rush touchdown. He had no rushing touchdowns in the first 8 games. So he's getting acclimated more to that offense and all the different things that he can do as well.
You'll hear from some of the winners and losers in just a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, the Cavaliers were down 23 points at the Garden last night on a night where there was fascinating stuff going on between LeBron and Enes Kanter and everything else. In the end, the Cavaliers came back and they wound up getting the win.
He raced a 23-point deficit, 4th largest comeback by a LeBron James team in his career. They outscored the Knicks 43-25 in the 4th. So let's dive into that one. Of those 43 points, LeBron James scored or assisted on 30. 7 of his 8 assists led to 3-pointers. Kyle Korver scored 19 of his 21 points in the 4th quarter. The Cavs' 43 points are the most by any team in the 4th quarter this season. Then you had the little dust-up with Frank Ntilikina, the rookie. We'll get into that, what went on.
He is but a pawn in the game of life.
He really is.
LeBron used him to get at Phil.
Yes, he did.
And then used him last night like a tackling dummy or whatever that is.
And Enes Kanter did exactly, in my opinion, what Enes Kanter should have done.
I knew you were going to say that. I actually agree. We'll talk about that as we go. Meanwhile, if they had not given Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger the Rookie of the Year awards, they might as well have just stopped giving Rookie of the Year awards, and they both won them yesterday unanimously.
Yeah, Bellinger at 39 home runs, most ever for a rookie in the National League, 3rd most behind Aaron Judge now and Mark McGwire. He led the 104-win Dodgers in home runs and RBIs. He's the first rookie since 1920, when the RBI was officially recorded, to lead a 100-plus win team in both categories. 18 of his home runs were the 7th inning or later, so that's a clutch guy on down the road. Judge, the first Yankee Rookie of the Year since Derek Jeter in 1996. He's the 3rd player to post it. This is interesting. 3rd player to post at least an 8 wins above replacement WAR in a season where they're rookie year eligible since this award was first handed out in 1947. The other two, Dick Allen in 64, 8.8, and, of course, Mike Trout, the king of WAR, in 2012, 10.8. Both players were Rookies of the Year. So you're right. This was the easiest award to give out. Cy Youngs are given out tomorrow. MVP's given out Thursday. I think managers tonight, right? Today or
managers
tonight?
of the year,
tonight. So
managers, the most devalued position in all of sports.
Off the top.
We can talk about that a little later. All right, the college football playoff rankings come out tonight, 9 Eastern on ESPN for the exclusive presentation, and a lot of things will get sorted out from here on in, but I'm just curious to see where they put Miami.
Yep.
And we talked about Michigan State jumped like 12 spots last week. Miami could go all the way. I don't think it's inconceivable that Miami could go. You could legitimize putting Miami all the way up to number 1. I don't think they will.
They'll go 2 or 3.
You could.
Yeah, I think they'll be 2 or 3. I think we have the right teams. Alabama, Clemson, Miami, and Oklahoma are going to be the 4. To me, where are they putting Auburn? The 2-loss team. I think Auburn is no lower than 6th in this one.
I think it also doesn't matter.
No,
they put Auburn
exactly
behind
right.
Georgia, ahead of Georgia, Wisconsin.
Exactly right.
It doesn't matter for them.
I think, just, to guess and hopefully be right, I think Auburn will be at least a slot above Georgia. But at the end, it doesn't matter because they're playing Alabama. The big winners over the weekend, Miami, Oklahoma, and Auburn. Also, I think Wisconsin was a winner because Notre Dame lost, I think, in an ancillary way. So going to be interesting. Still a lot of it may not matter much, again, with Clemson and Miami. We already know they play in the ACC title game, but could Miami be undefeated and lose a close game? That could set some things up. As we mentioned, Auburn's already playing Alabama in that round robin with Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia that's going on.
If it were up to me, and it isn't, I would put Wisconsin 5, I'd put Auburn 6, I'd put Georgia 7.
I think that's what's going to happen. I do. The first 4, I think Alabama is going to be number 1. But, again, the first 4, the order doesn't really matter.
And then, if you like college hoops, you know where to go tonight. ESPN has got a spectacular doubleheader for the 7th straight year for the top programs in college basketball in one building on one night. It's in Chicago tonight, Golic, and look at the teams.
Yeah, let me kid me. Number 1, Duke. Number 2, Michigan State for the 41st time in the AP poll era. and the 8th time in the last 20 years. But the 40th time, 1 against 2, and number 1 has won 21 times, 21-19 in this one. As far as Coach K and Tom Izzo, it's going to be the 12th time that they've faced off as head coaches. You know what the record is?
Don't tell me. The way you said that makes me think you're going to tell me it's 6-6, but
no.
I would have guessed Krzyzewski owns it, and I feel like I had Michigan State in the tournament at least 3 times, and that they lost to Duke. So go ahead, tell me.
Coach K has won 10 of the previous 11. 10 of the previous 11. And then the other game, number 7, Kentucky, number 4, Kansas. Kentucky and Kansas are the most all-time number 1, number 2 winning programs in college basketball. Since Calipari became the head coach of Kentucky, the Wildcats and Jayhawks have met 5 times when each is ranked in the poll. Kentucky holds a 3-2 edge in that.
All right, should be terrific to watch tonight for early season college hoops.
Absolutely.
And you will hear Tom Izzo on this show a little bit later this morning as we get a chance to talk to him about the game tonight and just to thank him for all the years that he has been our friend on this show. Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. More independent agents sell Progressive Insurance than any other brand. Find an agent at Progressive.com. Now that's Progressive. All right, the game last night, some numbers again. The Panthers rushed for 294 yards. Cam Newton had 4 passing touchdowns and 95 yards rushing. It is the 3rd time that a quarterback, since the merger, 3rd time that a quarterback has run for over 90 yards and thrown 4 touchdowns in the same game. 2 of the 3 have been Cam.
Yes.
The 3rd was Randall Cunningham.
Yes, it was.
Who you referenced a little while ago. Randall Cunningham did it in 1990, so we had Hembo go back and look.
Hembo didn't have to go back. I remembered it perfectly.
That game?
It was week 9. We destroyed the Patriots 48-20. If I recall, I think I shared a sack with Clyde Simmons. I think Reggie had another sack. 2 quarterbacks played in that game, Hembo, if I'm correct, right? Mark Wilson and Steve Grogan. I think Randall threw for over 240 yards and rushed for over 100 yards, if my memory serves correct.
You cracked me up.
Oh my God.
This is what I'm going to miss the most.
Clue.
Golic would never have remembered this game existed. You and Hembo put me up to this thing here. I'm the one who saw the stat in the first place.
Oh, I saw the stat when I came in. I just had no idea.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. But it just got to be that is the comparison that you made, and it is. We were seeing. There have been other quarterbacks. If you had said others might have done this, I would have said Steve Young in theory could have done it. Fran Tarkenton in theory could have done it.
There were guys that were runners. I mean, Elway ran. These guys were really good athletes, but they were throwers first. When Randall came into the league with Buddy Ryan, and basically Buddy Ryan told him early on, look for your primary, maybe the secondary, if that, and then take off, run. So that was kind of kind of drilled into him early on to take off and run. Use your athletic ability. And, man, he had some athletic ability, but he had a whip as well. He had a great arm to boot. So when he became acclimated to that and coached along those lines, and we saw what he did when he went to Minnesota, I mean, the ability to throw the ball and run the ball, at that time he was the best passing athletic quarterback I think there was, with the ability to throw the way he could. But, man, he could outrun you and juke you. Again, Cam, while you saw him on that long run last night, can outrun a few. He ends up getting caught, but he is a fast player. Wasn't as fast as Randall. He's just so much bigger. I mean, he's just a freak. Watching what he does to throw the ball and then to run the ball. And all that yardage he gained last night was on designed runs, which is something you definitely can do with him and definitely something you should do with him.
He actually, as you mentioned, 95 designed rushing yards last night. He's averaging a career-high 7.3 yards per rush. That is the most in the NFL among players who have qualified. So we will most definitely put Cam Newton in the zone. Mm-hmm. Brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone with AutoZone. And our Lewis Riddick was watching last night, and he was impressed.
Things are starting to look up in terms of health. Cam looks much healthier. When Greg Olsen comes back, that gives him his weapon between the numbers that he hasn't had for a long time. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, that's hard to replace. And look, with no Kelvin Benjamin and no real proven receiver on the outside, they need to be able to attack the middle of the field as much as possible. And when he comes back and you pair him with a guy like that, Ed Dixon, now you've got 2 matchup problems. And as Funchess continues to grow into a role as the primary pass catcher, as Christian McCaffrey gets more comfortable as far as his role as a dual threat, Jonathan Stewart can stay healthy and hold on to the football. Now it's starting to look like that team in 2015 that did go on a run for sure.
You know, you sit there, look at them. They're 2-1 in the division. They have a bye this week. Bye comes at a nice time. As I mentioned, they're 2-1. Their only loss in the division, though, is not a good one. They lost at home to the team they're looking up at, the Saints.
Right.
So they do have the Saints one more time, but they have the Saints in New Orleans. So they have the bye, then they're at the Jets, then they're at the Saints. So they have the Jets, and then they do go to the Saints, and then finish up Minnesota, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and then at Atlanta for the last game. But they're starting to hit their stride. And as we've always said, it doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you finish. Put yourself in a position to get into the dance. Certainly they would love to win the division, and they'll have a chance. If both teams win the next week, New Orleans and them, or they have the bye, I'm going to say after they play the Jets, if they meet only one game down, they have a chance to even it up in New Orleans in playing them. We'll see. But they're hitting their stride at the right time, both offensively and defensively. And then, as Lewis said, you get a guy like Greg Olsen back. That really is going to help. But Dixon, I think, is doing a nice job in his stead. He had a touchdown catch last night. So we'll see where it goes. But they are definitely rounding into the form more of a couple of years ago than last year.
Yeah, and from 2 years ago, you look at the difference. That year, they led the league in scoring offense. That was the year that Cam just destroyed everybody. This year, they lead the league in total defense and in time of possession. They're running it. Last night, they obviously ran it like crazy. Mm-hmm. So it's a little tiny bit of a different formula, but one way or another, they look awfully good right now. So Carolina is worth paying attention to. And as far as the Miami Dolphins are concerned, a strange season takes a turn in the direction that probably seemed realistic. They were an above 500 team when they made those trades. Yeah. And they traded away Ajayi, and they were talking about trading away Landry and making all these changes, but they didn't feel like an over 500 team. And so here's Louis Riddick again with his thoughts on what the Dolphins are looking at.
Adam Gase has a lot of work to do. Right now, there's going to be some hard conversations with Mike Tannenbaum in the front office as to what the heck is going on with my football team here. I can't cut everybody. I can't send a message to everyone. Someone's got to play. Maybe you got to get me some different players.
Say, talking about this for a team after week 7, Greeny, that was 4-2. 4-2.
Yeah.
I mean, I do agree with you. I think people did think they were exceeding expectation, but the bottom line is they were 4-2. They were getting the job done. They were in a 3-game winning streak of Tennessee, Atlanta, and the Jets before they had 3 losses in a row, Baltimore, Oakland, and Carolina. So, yeah, I think we're seeing now more of what we thought they were going to be. Remember that Jay Cutler was not their starting quarterback, and they kept referencing last night on the broadcast that Cutler came out of the booth. I mean, he never got in the booth.
True.
He never got in the booth to do anything before he was called.
He got rerouted from the booth.
That's exactly right. So, and Cutler had played a couple of good games. He had that interception right before half definitely hurt him, though. And Carolina did a great job by taking advantage of it. Defense not living up at all to their expectations with guys like Ndamukong Suh and a guy like Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake was just befuddled if you heard him talk after that game of what's going on. They're just so frustrated there. Not only of like what he said, what's going on the field, but off the field as well. It's not good there. It's not. I don't think it's New York Giant-esque because it hasn't gotten as public with what's going on there, but there seems to be some real disarray there. Well, for a team, the Giants were never in it this year. This team was 4-2 at one point before they trade one of their best offensive players away, and the coach is calling people out, and it's turned ugly.
But it was a mirage even then.
I agree, but they were still there. If you're a player, you go into that locker room, and you're like, you know what? No matter how we got here, we're 4-2, so we got a shot. But reality is really set in.
Fair enough. But the statistic that'll just jump out the page at you, if you look at the standings, the Dolphins' overall point differential this year, they're 4-5, is negative 87. They've been outscored in total by 87 points. The 49ers' point differential is negative 86. They're 1-9. Yeah. They're 1-9. They've been outscored by 86 points. The Dolphins are 4-5. They have been outscored by 87.
It is interesting.
Look crazy come from behind wins against the Jets and the Falcons and all this kind of stuff. And look, you're right. They won the games.
Right.
So they were in the position to get things done. But they, I think, realistically assess themselves as being a paper tiger. And the first thing they'll have to figure out, to Lewis's point, who's their quarterback going to be? Ryan Tannehill, in theory, will heal. And are they going to now, with Gaze, hitch their wagon to him going forward, meaning starting next year? And clearly Matt Moore isn't going to be the guy. Clearly Jay Cutler isn't going to be the guy. So have you decided now, okay, we're going to go with Tannehill and see what happens? Or are you going an entirely other direction? And I don't know what that might be.
Yeah, I don't either. What's going to be your deal at running back? You trade Ajayi away. Offensive line, you had some draft pick, but you've had injuries there that have hurt you as well. How much help can you give on the outside to the receivers? We thought this offense would be way more potent, and the defense not doing very well either. So, yeah, it's not a great situation there. They certainly have some reshuffling to do there.
All right, we're just getting rolling here. We got a ton more football in the hopper for you this morning, including the issues between Arthur Blank and Jerry Jones, which continue to be, for me, incredibly interesting. I'm fascinated by that dynamic. I you know me and my sternly worded letters.
I know.
There was a sternly worded letter written yesterday.
They're going out. We can't just have enough where the players don't like the league and the commissioner and the head of the union don't get along. Now we got owner on owner.
Yeah.
I mean, holy
The owners
smokes.
don't like each other either now.
Hey, everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling that you're safe to enjoy the things that matter most. ADT lets you take that feeling with you, whether you're at home, your business, or online. We help keep you safe with security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling for less than $1 a day. ADT. Home. Safe home.
Twitter reaction, 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Daniel tweets, do you guys think if Ron Rivera and his staff were to ask Cam to play all out for 9 years or play 85% for 15 years, which one would Cam choose?
I don't even want to answer that because no coach in their right mind is going to go to a player and say something like that. I mean, I don't.
It is. You wouldn't say it that way. I guess the point is, what you'd say is, look, Cam, if you want to have a longer career, we're going to have to stop using some of these running plays. You're going to have to stop taking this volume of hits. You wouldn't phrase it as, we're only going to get 85% of you, but that would be the reality
So then
of
if
it.
you do that and you get what you've gotten out of him up to, this point, is he going to be happy with the results of an inefficient offense that hasn't really been flowing when he's the leader of that offense? So the offense wasn't working very well. It works better when he runs. I mean, I get it. It's his. At the end of the day, he has the ball in his hand. He can decide not to run it. He can decide to get down and slide more if he wants to. It's going to be up to him.
But the bottom line of it is, Tom Brady is still playing and still making tens of millions of dollars to play at the age of 40.
Cam Newton is never going to be a Tom Brady-type quarterback. Cam Newton is never going to be a stand in the pocket and throw the ball quarterback. Never has been, never was, never will be. You can't change what you are that much to say, you know what, I'm done running. I'm just going to stand in the pocket and throw the ball. That's not his game, and I wouldn't ask him to do that.
I understand what you mean. Let me try and make an analogy, and you tell me if there's anything to this. For the longest time, and I guess even to this day, they would describe a pitcher who, when he loses a little bit of his fastball, finds other ways to get you out. Is Newton a guy who, right now, he is just so physically dominant with his extraordinary size and speed and all of that? When he doesn't have that anymore, which he at some point won't, because when you get to be 30-something, you won't have that anymore. Can he? Do you not believe he could develop enough pocket skills to become a really effective quarterback who can still beat you?
Listen, I have no idea.
But that's the point. So what I'm saying is he going to work to develop that enough to where he would have a long career?
I think you develop it along the way. I mean, back in 2015, at the last half of the season, all we talked about was he and Russell Wilson, who are two guys that run well, all of a sudden were throwing well from the pocket. They're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
You can do the one while still doing the other. I guess that's my point. We're not choosing here between just standing in the pocket and throwing the ball for the rest of your career, which he will not do. I don't think that will bode him well, as opposed to maybe not running as much, but being smarter when you run. You can do both.
A couple of other things. Vince tweets, give me Randall Cunningham over Cam Newton any day of the week. You played with Randall. Who was a better player?
Well,
Cam Newton was the MVP of the league 2 years ago.
He was, and certainly Randall had his time, especially when Randall went to Minnesota and the weapons he had to throw to there. Randall was a better athlete overall, quicker, faster, but he was smaller. I mean, he was tall. He was still 6'4", where Cam is 6'5". But
he was skinny. He was really skinny.
I don't know the official weight of what Randall was, but there has to be a good 20, 30 pounds of difference between the two. And so to see It's like watching LeBron do all the different things he can do at his size. You're just like, wow. You see Cam do that, and you're just amazed at this guy, running down the field and doing what he's able to do. But Randall, in my opinion, was a faster, better athlete who had more shake to him. But Cam has proven he's been pretty effective, no doubt about that.
All right, keep the Twitter coming. We'll keep going through it as the morning goes. Mike and Mike here, brought to you by Upside.com, giving all business travelers the gift of a better travel experience this holiday season, Upside.com.
I just want to keep throwing these in here as well, since this is the last week of our show. This from Chris. I've been listening to you guys since the 8th grade, which is 2004. Now I'm 27 and newly married. Thank you for all the mornings you've entertained us, and good luck to both your futures. I just want to keep throwing those in there because we're getting so many of them. I'm trying to put a lot of them aside. But just to show how long people have been listening, it's just crazy. To 8th grade to 27 and married. I mean, just amazing.
There'll be no way for us to respond to everybody, and I sincerely wish that we could. But it is very, very meaningful to us both, all of these nice notes that we're getting. And those are the weirdest ones because in some ways 18 years goes by like that. In some ways it feels like it's been my entire life.
When your kids are growing up, it flies by, doesn't it?
It's our own kids, yeah. But that, we've been there every single day to see it. But so to hear someone say, like when the show's, like Hembo. Hembo works on our show.
Yeah.
When we started, Hembo, how old were you?
I'm exactly as old as that guy that just
So how old were you in January of 2000? How old were you?
I was 10.
He was 10.
9. I was 9.
He was 9. He's our researcher now. He sends us notes. He works on our show every single day. He was 9 when we started.
Sometimes the work
doing
he does is like a 9-year-old, but that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other. We've hit on another problem. But yeah, that's been weird. Like to sit back and think through that has been. It's bizarre. I don't have words to describe exactly how you feel. Like it's just it's one
tough.
Of the strangest experiences I've ever had.
It really is. All we can say is over and over is thank you, and we'll keep reading those. It's just amazing the span and what people have done over those years, and how many. I think one of the fun things for us has been how many times have we been on in the birthing rooms?
How many babies have we seen ushered into this world? How many dopey fathers have forgotten to mention the names of their wives? Who are lying there doing all the work while they're sitting here going, hey, maybe I can get my tweet read on Mike and Mike by sending us a note, and we would dance to this ridiculous song. And we're going to play the Good Morning song.
Yes,
also, I've seen a lot of. We meant to do it yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen.
We'll do it once. We'll do it once every day the rest of this week.
Yeah, we will.
And I'll be. There were. We started out in such a small way.
Yeah.
That there just can't be. A lot of people will say, I've been listening to you guys from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It just can't be everybody because when we were starting, there were only like 11 people listening.
Exactly right.
So there's no way that everyone was. But if you want to go through all of that, there were some things from we were talking about it after the show yesterday, some things from the very beginning of our show that like members of our staff don't know.
Oh, no, that's exactly right. They have no clue what we're talking about.
Like the Bapacosi Did You Nosy and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, we'll spend a lot of this week talking about that. But we will also talk about the sports news of the day. And I thought that the LeBron stuff with the Knicks yesterday was really interesting.
Yes, it was.
And I knew you would take the position that you took, and I agree with it completely. Because Frank Ntilikina did not deserve to be the collateral damage of this dispute between LeBron and Phil any more than LeBron deserved to be the collateral damage in the dispute between Phil and Carmelo.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So, or actually, that was between Phil and Riley.
Right.
So last year, let's go. This is where the genesis of this thing between LeBron and Phil, to me, was. I think this is less about the way Phil treated Carmelo than it is about Phil's comments when he was going after Riley.
Yes.
So Phil, in an effort to take a little jab at Riley, because Phil and Pat Riley never liked each other. They've been rivals for literally 50 years. In an effort to take a jab at Riley, threw some shade, if you will, at LeBron.
Right.
And that was where the quote-unquote posse comment came from, which really irked LeBron and set off an entire conversation. Right. So that, I think, was the genesis of that. That made LeBron aggravated. So for those of you who didn't pay attention to it this week, LeBron and the Cavaliers play Dallas. They've got Dennis Smith Jr., who the Knicks passed on. Right. And LeBron immediately jumped in on this, saying the Knicks passed on a really good one. Dallas got the diamond in the rough. He should be a Knick. Right. And he makes no bone. He clarified yesterday, yes, I meant that as a shot at Phil.
That was a shot at Phil, but Ntilikina got caught up in the trap.
That's the point.
Right.
He becomes, no matter how much LeBron tries to say now that I don't mean that to direct it at him.
But it did.
How can you not?
That's exactly right.
That's the guy they took instead.
Right.
So I have zero issue with Kanter rising to his defense.
Well, then on the court, so when you see on the court what went on, it was Ntilikina and LeBron kind of bumping into one another, and LeBron just kind of up in him, and Frank just kind of pushing him away and then going for like an out-of-bounds play. But while they're kind of pushing and jostling, Enes Kanter comes running back down the court, and he gets in LeBron's grill. I was watching the highlights of that. Now, I was watching on the app, and I don't know who was doing the call, who was the audio of that highlight. But I heard them say Kanter has no business being down there.
It was the Cleveland call. I heard it. That was the Cleveland call.
Are you kidding me? What do you mean he has no business being down there? His teammate is in a little bit of a scrum, very little, nothing too physical, with an opponent. Enes Kanter did absolutely, and he didn't come barreling down like Mike Evans in Tampa Bay and blindside LeBron. He got around and he got LeBron's face. And he absolutely should have gotten in LeBron's face. They both ended up getting a technical. LeBron tried to shove him out of the way. But I have zero issue with what Kanter did. You should run and defend your teammates. I would have been more upset had nobody done something like that, quite honestly. And again, it wasn't a physical thing. He didn't go in there and start pushing and shoving. He got in LeBron's face.
Yeah, and they have history going back prior to this little incident. But Kanter, who has been a Knick for all of 15 minutes, was the one who rose to the defense immediately of Ntilikina. When LeBron said the thing he said about how the Knicks passed on Dennis Smith and took the wrong guy, Enes Kanter tweeted, "Nope, we love what we got."
Right.
So he's a team guy.
That's exactly right.
He's just standing up for his team.
Absolutely right.
So I don't think he did anything wrong. Nope. LeBron just threw Ntilikina in the middle of something that Ntilikina, he didn't do anything.
Like, wait, what? What did he say?
He was just trying to play a playoff game in France. Exactly. Next thing you know, he's getting drafted by the Knicks instead of this guy all the Knicks fans and many others wanted them to take Malik Monk. They didn't. Want them to take Dennis Smith Jr. They didn't. They took this kid. We'll see what he'll wind up being. I have no idea. But I can understand another thing from Enes Kanter basically saying, why are you talking about what we should have done?
I mean, yeah.
Like, why are you talking about who we should have drafted?
Right.
You know, I can see LeBron doing that, defending his own team. If someone else talked about them, LeBron, like last year, he got mad at Phil. Like, why are you talking about someone who's not even on your team? Well, now LeBron is doing that exactly when he's talking about who the Knicks should have drafted.
Yeah. Listen, I get where this got. As I said, Frank Ntilikina got caught up in this. And there was a little bit of the scuffle. And what Kanter, why would anybody have a problem with what Kanter did? I know there was history with this, but what he did was absolutely fine. Double technical, we go on our way, and the Knicks look like they have a win here, and they end up losing a huge lead going into the fourth quarter.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Congratulations, Mike and Mike, on 18 outstanding years. A couple of my favorite moments from the show. One is when Golic had to get naked. The other was when Greeny milked the cow, and the cow wasn't too happy about it. And lastly, on the record singing for the young OKC Thunder that featured Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden at the time, I had to bust it out because they made it to the NBA Finals. They may be young, but they're ready.
I'm going to say this. First, Jalen, thank you very much. And Greeny's now your problem.
He's the worst singer in the world. I was with him the other night.
I was going to say, with him, you have a step up in celebrity and in professional athlete and college and what his career was to mine.
And height.
But singing, downgrade.
Huge.
Downgrade.
I mean, colossal.
Yeah.
You are a very good singer.
Yeah.
He is a terrible singer. Mm-hmm. I reminded him of that the other night, but I had forgotten. You have to give him credit. He was singing about, I didn't remember. He hosted the show. He sang that song. He was talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder at a time when they had Westbrook, KD, and Durant. Excuse me, that is Harden.
Yeah.
And they were all incredibly young. And I don't remember exactly the conversation, but basically we were saying they're too young, and he's saying they may be young, but they're ready.
We had no idea what he was singing about because we were too busy trying to cover our ears.
He sung it so horribly. So thank you, Jalen.
Yeah, thank you. No,
please stop singing.
Yeah, there you go. Mike and Mike reminding you, if you want to get in touch with us, tweet us at Mike and Mike through the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Show her how thankful you are this holiday season with a beautiful bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get 24 multicolored roses for just $24. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN.
So I got to read you one of these tweets.
Okay.
So we were just mentioning a moment ago that we have brought a lot of babies into the world.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Idiot dads are sitting in these delivery rooms trying to get their tweets read on television by tweeting at us and leaving out the name.
Leaving out the name of the person doing all the work.
So here's a perfect one.
Okay.
Jeff Jefferson, or Jeff Jefferson, because he spells it with 2 G's, tweets, a lot of people have you on in the delivery room. My wife and I made a baby while watching your show. And then he at Mike and Mike.
Greeny.
Yeah. Why are you playing that music? That is in the delivery room.
No. Read that again slowly.
A lot of people have you on in the delivery room.
Delivery room.
My wife and I made a baby. I don't think that's what he means.
Made. So instead of
how many people do that in the delivery room?
They weren't in the delivery room. I think at home, instead of this music playing, all of a sudden they heard back and better than ever, and there you go. You know what I'm saying?
He's saying a lot. We have you on in the delivery room. My wife and I made the baby while.
Do I have to explain the birds and the bees of making a baby?
So now I'm reading that differently now.
Our show is their love music.
Well,
try that one on.
There is something kind of sexy.
Oh, no.
Do you remember the time that there was like I forget what they were, but you gave me these lines to read that someone was reading sexily? Yeah. And I was trying to do
it? Yeah. That was when you were trying to read. I remember you were trying to be cool for Snoop as well. Snoop
that one was bad, too.
That was all. But these people use our show as their turn-on music. How about that? Yeah.
That one I find kind of hard to take. Well, one way or another, he still doesn't at the most important person. He adds at Mike and Mike at ESPN Golic at ESPN Greeny. He leaves out the person with whom he made the baby.
Let's be honest. It took him longer to tweet that than do the act. So
that's probably true.
Really worried.
Okay, Mike and Mike, back to business here.
Yeah.
You got LeBron, you got Enes Kanter. And again, poor Frank Ntilikina becomes just collateral damage.
What did LeBron say about me?
Well done. Sacre bleu.
Hey.
Qu'est-ce que c'est le problème? LeBron, I look up to you. There's a terrible French accent. But anyway, the point of it is that Ntilikina he's just trying to go to the ball. I mean, there's an inbounds play.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do.
LeBron is standing in the way.
Right there.
And listen, this is not the first time this kind of thing has happened. Many, many years ago, Jerry Krause was enamored with bringing Tony Kukoc to the Bulls, and Jordan and Pippen were resentful of it for a variety of reasons, and they played against Kukoc in the Olympics, and they annihilated him. They humiliated him. They just destroyed him. So this is not the first time we've seen collateral damage of current stars, but whatever. So the point is they get into it yesterday, and then afterwards, Enes Kanter says basically, you're not going to do that to my guy.
We fight really hard. We play with a lot of energy. But I'll tell you one thing. This team is really special. And you ain't coming to my house playing that water bottle flip game again. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are, king. What do you call yourself? King, queen, princess, whatever you are. You know what? We're going to fight. And nobody out there going to punk us. So we're just going out there, play our game. And I think we're just going to get better and better every day.
Good for him. 20 points, 16 rebounds last night. Again, they lost the game in the fourth quarter. But and again, he wasn't overly braggadocious about it or acting big tough guy thing. And even in that moment, he just ran down there and got in front of LeBron. In between his player and LeBron, and just got in his face. So I have zero issue, and actually I'm happy someone did that and said that and does. And they shouldn't care who LeBron is in that particular situation. You're defending your teammate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he... And I wonder if LeBron, if he had it to do again, would do it a little differently, realizing that no matter how much he tries to say, I didn't mean to diss the kid.
He did diss the kid.
He dissed the kid.
He did.